Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're going to completely flip our understanding of value right on its head. We're diving deep into a concept that literally challenges almost everything modern society teaches us about, what we should desire, what we should be striving for, and ultimately what we should actually pay for. So get ready, because the way you look at your life, your goals, and definitely your wallet, it might fundamentally change in the next few minutes. I want you to start off by asking yourself this question right now. What is the absolutely most valuable thing you own? Like, really think about your most prized possession for a second. Got it? Okay, now I want you to ask yourself two follow-up questions about that exact thing. First, what did it actually cost you? And I mean in terms of money, time, and stress, just to get it. And second, and honestly, this is the real kicker, does it truly keep you alive? Like, does it fundamentally sustain your actual biological life? Just hold on to that thought as we keep going. See, society has basically trained us to define the word precious as things that are expensive, highly complex, and incredibly hard to obtain, right? In our economic systems, scarcity basically equals value. And on the flip side of that, we tend to dismiss things as cheap if they're simple, abundant, and easy to get. But what if this entire definition is completely backward? What if true value actually operates on the exact opposite logic? Well, that brings us straight to the core focus of today's explainer. We're looking at this massive, paradigm-shifting philosophy from Guy Zhifeng. He's the founder of LifeChain Yuan. And he states plainly, quote, "For life, the simpler, cheaper, and easier to obtain, the more valuable it is," end quote. Now, he isn't talking about social status or market economics here at all. He is emphasizing the fundamental biological essence of human existence and survival. Section 1. Nature versus manufactured luxury. So the source material grounds this whole argument in nature. Think about sunshine, air, soil, and water. These things are absolutely indispensable to life. Without them, we literally perish, done. Yet, they are the absolute easiest things to obtain. They're incredibly simple, and they're practically free. Then, compare that to things that are staggeringly expensive and highly sought after. Diamonds, luxury watches, or even extreme narcotics like heroin. To life itself, to your actual physical and spiritual survival, Zhifeng argues that these things are utterly valueless. You don't need a diamond-encrusted watch to breathe, right? But Guy Zhifeng doesn't just stop at nature. He takes this one basic law, that the most vital things are the simplest, and uses it as a lens to totally reevaluate basically every other facet of human society. He takes this value paradox and applies it to our relationships, our personal cultivation, our health, how we pursue knowledge, how nations are governed, and even our everyday lifestyle choices. So let's break some of these down. Section 2. Simplifying truth and knowledge. All right, so the crucial point here is this. When it comes to elevating our lives, Zhifeng views common sense, plain truths as vastly more valuable than anything else. We all have this tendency to chase after profound, heavily layered, super complex philosophical truths, right? Because we think they hold the secret key to enlightenment. But according to this philosophy, those deeply complex truths are actually way less beneficial to our ultimate growth. It turns out, true wisdom is highly accessible. It's plain. Which naturally leads us right into how we learn. Zhifeng points out this really fascinating irony when it comes to the pursuit of knowledge. The teachers, or masters who truly possess deep, genuine knowledge, they're usually the ones who charge little to absolutely no fees, and they treat everyone as complete equals. In stark contrast to that, the teachers who charge exorbitant fees and constantly pose as these superior beings, they're actually the ones severely lacking in real knowledge. Basically, they're using high prices and all this complex posturing to totally mask their own emptiness. And this applies directly to personal practice and spiritual cultivation too. True cultivation absolutely shouldn't be an exhausting financial burden. The text argues that the simpler, more direct, and easier ways to practice are inherently better, period. Any path of cultivation that drains your bank account, eats up every second of your time, and just depletes your energy, it's simply not a good path. True spiritual growth, much like air and sunshine, should be completely accessible and revitalizing, not draining. Section 3. The cost of complexity. Now, here is a highly contrarian take from the source material when it comes to disease and healing. Zhifeng asserts that the cheaper the medicine, the more effective it is, and the simpler the treatment, the better the actual outcome. Crazy, right? Conversely, he argues that the more expensive the medicine, the more problems it actually carries with it. Under this philosophy, incredibly complex, high-cost medical treatments often result in worse outcomes for the patient. It's definitely a radical thought, but honestly, it aligns perfectly with the core paradox we're exploring. Nature simply and cheaply provides exactly what we truly need. Okay, let's ground this right in your daily reality. Just think about your own social circle for a minute. The relationships that are super easy to maintain, the ones that just naturally flow, those are the ones that are truly beneficial to you. But what about those connections that require constant, difficult, anxiety inducing maintenance, the ones that cost you endless amounts of emotional energy? Well, Shafeng argues they are practically worthless to your actual well being. If it's profoundly difficult just to keep a relationship afloat, it might not be a relationship worth having at all. Now let's scale this entire philosophy up to national governance. The principle remains exactly the same. According to the text, a simpler government, meaning one with fewer agencies, fewer civil servants, and way fewer complex regulations, is significantly more beneficial to the people. On the flip side, a huge increase in bureaucratic complexity, like an explosion of agencies and rules, that directly equals more harm to the public. Basically, complexity at the state level just becomes a massive burden on the daily life of the citizen. Section 4, redesigning your lifestyle. I want you to take a brief moment right now for some active self-reflection. Seriously, look at your life. Is your lifestyle complex or is it simple? How much totally unnecessary complexity have you unknowingly built into your daily routine? Are you constantly chasing the expensive and the complicated just because society told you to? Or are you actively embracing the simple, abundant things that truly sustain your life? The source material draws a very direct, undeniable line between the choices we make and our emotional outcomes. A simple lifestyle that directly correlates to happiness. A complex lifestyle, one completely filled with expensive desires, super difficult relationships, and draining pursuits, that is identified as the literal root cause of anxiety and pain. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, this philosophy strongly suggests that the cure isn't to somehow get more things or to manage your time better. The actual cure is to radically simplify. And that brings us to a really powerful final thought directly from Guy Schweffing's writings. He says, the simpler the lifestyle, the happier it will be, and the more complex the lifestyle, the more anxious and painful it will be. This leaves all of us with a pretty profound challenge. What are you truly chasing in life? Like, are you exhausting yourself for things that are fundamentally valueless to your actual survival? I really challenge you to look at your day tomorrow and ask yourself, what is one complex thing I can completely let go of just to make room for the simple, the cheap, and the truly precious? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep questioning and keep learning.